Started. I would like to call to order the April 14th, 2022 meeting of the Waukegan Planning and Zoning Commission. Can we have a roll call, please?
Anderson? Bill?
Here.
Griffin? Here. Grimes? Haug? Hintz?
Here.
Rivera?
Here.
Rodriguez?
Here. And Commissioner Haug is walking through the door as we speak. Let's give him a second to get in the door. Commissioner Haug, are you present? Okay. Thank you. So we do have a quorum plus one. Next item, item 2, approval of the minutes of the 2 meetings of March 10th, 2022. If anybody has any corrections or changes on them, we'll vote on them separately. Otherwise, we can probably just vote on them both in one roll call vote. Anybody gonna have any changes to either of them, corrections? No, okay. Then do we have a motion to approve the minutes of both of the March 10th, 2022 meetings?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Bill.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Griffin. Any comments, corrections, changes? None? Roll call vote, please.
Bill?
Aye.
Hintz?
Aye.
Haug?
Aye.
Griffin? Aye. Rivera?
Aye.
Rodriguez?
Yes. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Next item. Item 3 is audience time. This is an opportunity for anybody here who would like to address the commission on any matter that is not on the agenda tonight. Because as we deal with the matters that are on the agenda, there will be opportunity for the public to comment or ask questions. So if anybody would like to address the commission on any item that's not on the agenda tonight, this is your opportunity. No one? Okay. Moving on. Item 4, old business. Is there any old business that we need to discuss? Nothing? Okay. Item 5, new business. We have 2 items. The first 2 items, zoning calendar number 2657 and 2658, are dealing with the same project by the same presenter, same location. And so what we're going to do, we're going to ask that the presenters present on the entire project, including both items that are up for approval. And when we vote on them, we'll be voting on them separately. So zoning calendar number 2657, a request by the petitioner Waukegan Park District for a conditional use permit for a public museum at the location known as 1 North Sheridan Road. And zoning calendar number 2658, a request by the petitioner Waukegan Park District for variance for parking within the required front yard for the location known as 1 North Sheridan Road. Who will be presenting? You're the only one that will be presenting? I think so. Unless we have some questions or something. Okay, then what I'd like to do is ask you to come up to the podium, and I'm going to swear you in. And anybody that's here to answer questions, why don't I swear you all in right now, just so that we don't have to worry about it if the time comes, okay? Please all raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Okay, please proceed. And as you speak, please give your name and your affiliation to the project, even if we know who you are.
That's fine. Thanks, Mike. I'm Ty Rohr. I'm the manager of cultural arts for the Waukegan Park District. Also with us today, Lori Nierheim and Harry Kame with Board of Directors of the Waukegan Historical Society, Elizabeth Trail with Harbo Architects, and Jerry Alicio, project manager representing the Waukegan Park District. So we're here to discuss the historic Carnegie Library at 1 North Sheridan Road. Again, for the conditional use permit for a public museum and variance for parking. The Waukegan Park District, in partnership with the Waukegan Historical Society, is currently working on plans to adaptively reuse the Carnegie Library as a new local history museum. This will be a multi-use facility that will house exhibits, a research library, archive and collection storage, a classroom, and also a special event room. And the museum will focus on education through local history and the environment, culture, humanities, and youth engagement. And in the recommendation from Steve Sabrin. The 8 conditions that he outlined there, we can and will meet all 8 conditions within that. And our plans for the museum call for an addition to be constructed extending off of the north of the existing library. This addition will provide an accessible entrance to the museum. Now, this unique site, as we all know, that the Carnegie sits on, has its challenges, especially when it comes to parking. So our plan does have a small parking lot next to the addition that will accommodate 2 handicap accessible parking spaces. And this lot will strictly be used for handicap parking only. It will be properly striped and properly identified for the public.
Okay. Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for the petitioner?
I have one.
Commissioner Rivera.
This is going to be, I believe, a great asset to the city of Waukegan, first of all. I know you talked about the handicap parking. I don't know if the building is the building handicap accessible? That might be a question for the architect or...
The building, as it was originally constructed, is not. This addition to the north will be the accessible entrance to the facility. The original entrance at the corner of Sheridan and Washington will still be the main entrance, but the addition will be the accessible.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Commissioner Bill?
As far as public parking then, if they're visiting the facility, will the parking structure over on the south side, or excuse me, west side of Sheridan Road, would that be usable or where?
We hope so. We're in conversations with the College of Lake County
Okay.
for use in that. We also have an agreement through the city for parking spaces in the lot that's kitty corner from the Carnegie as well.
All right. Will there be like a parking drop-off zone too? Let's say a school brings students there?
There will be on the Washington Street side. There
Okay.
will be a drop-off zone there.
Okay.
And with a courtyard in the front to accommodate for the buses to get off and on easy.
Okay. Well, I know it's an awkward site, but I'm glad to see you're doing it, but yeah, it'll be an asset to Waukegan, that's for sure. Thank you.
Are there any more questions or comments from the commissioners? Okay. I'd like to ask if there is anyone else here who would like to speak out in support of this project. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak out in opposition to this project? Okay, and I'd like to ask the city for their position and recommendation.
Staff does recommend approval for both the conditional use permit and for the variance. As was discussed earlier in regards to this variance request, there is a lack of parking, as you know, from, accessing this library. When the library was first built, you're talking 1902, 1903, when there weren't many vehicles. And of course, Sheridan Road was probably a 2-lane road. And now you've got Sheridan Road as a 4-lane road with no on-street parking nearby the library, which is why we felt this off-street parking would be ideal. As he had stated, it is going to be strictly for handicap parking, so it's not going to be for the general public. And that addition has been proposed strictly for the handicapped accessibility entrance, so it'll only be used by those who would need that access. As Ty had said, the main entrance right at the corner is going to be your general entrance for the general population. But based on some of the things that Ty had made mention, you are going to see this library, which is going to be turned into, I believe, a crown jewel for the downtown. I think it's going to attract a lot of people to the downtown, and it's just going to be a really good success with the programs and events that they will have at this facility. So there are no concerns that we have as long as they meet the conditions. And again, one of those conditions would be the certificate of appropriateness. They would have to go to our Historic Preservation Commission for the final approval. This involves the actual exterior improvements. The Historic Preservation Commission does not involve themselves in what is going to be done internally to the library, but they are only concerned with the outward appearance in their recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have any questions or comments for city staff? Commissioner Rivera?
If the architect, is the architect here? Could they discuss a little bit of what they plan to do with the exterior? Could you, I mean, I'd like to know about that. I mean, this is pretty exciting.
The exterior, we're going to be.
And for the record, just state your name, please, and your affiliation to the project.
Sure, I'm Elizabeth Trail from Harbo Architects in Chicago. So the exterior is going to be, of the existing building, is going to be completely restored. We're going to be doing a cleaning, a tuck pointing, a new roof, and then to the north of there, we're going to provide access for accessibility. So there'll be an elevator, there'll be accessible restrooms, and there'll be the entrance there that you can, be able to park and then get right into the building. There'll be new windows in some areas, and on the primary facades, we're going to actually restore the windows, including some of the patterned glass. Anything else specifically you want me to touch on?
No, as long as they maintain it, but that's going to be an agreement with the Historical Society
Right,
to try to maintain the building's,
right.
original look.
And I think one of the main things that I forgot to point out too is at the main entrance, that stairway has been modified over the years. So we're going to restore what was originally there, the stairs and the wing walls back to what it looked like historically.
Sure. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions before we move on to the vote? Okay, then let's take these one at a time. I'd like to ask for a motion to recommend approval or recommend denial of zoning calendar number 2657, a request by the petitioner Waukegan Park District for a conditional use permit for a public museum for 1 North Sheridan Road. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion
Make that
by-
motion to approve per conditions.
Oh, I see. You were
Second.
persistent. Okay. Motion by Commissioner Griffin to recommend approval.
Right.
Second by Commissioner Rivera. Any further discussion on this motion? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Bill,
Aye.
Hintz,
Yes.
Haug,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Rivera,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes, motion carries. Okay, now I would like a motion to recommend approving or denying the request by the petitioner, Waukegan Park District, for a conditional use permit for a public museum at 1 North Sheridan Road.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarity, you want 2658?
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, did I read the wrong one?
It's okay. I can say it if you want.
No, yeah, let me just repeat, I'm sorry, I was reading the wrong line. Like a motion regarding zoning calendar 2658, a request by the petitioner, Waukegan Park District, for variance for parking within the required front yard for 1 North Sheridan Road. Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, yeah, I motion to recommend approval for zoning calendar 2658, a variance for parking within the required front yard.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Bill. Any further discussion on this motion? Roll call vote, please.
Bill,
Aye.
Hintz,
Yes.
Haug,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Rivera,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes, motion carries. Congratulations, good luck with your project. Next step, Community Development Committee, Monday, May 2nd, around 5 p.m. here, correct? In this room, this chamber. Okay, thank you very much. Next item, item 5.3, zoning calendar number 2659, is a request by the petitioner, James Breckenridge and Fan Steel, Inc., for a conditional use permit for building that exceeds a 60-foot height restriction for the location known as 1200 Gladstone Avenue. Who will be presenting? Are you the only person that will be presenting? Okay, I'd like to swear you all in, please. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, please come forward. And as you begin, just for the record, since it's being recorded, state your name and your affiliation with the project.
Good day. Hi, this is James Breckenridge. I'm the president of FanSteel. I'm honored to be here today, so thank you for hearing us. We're here to present and ask approval for a variance for the height of a new building on our site at FanSteel. FanSteel, for those of you who don't know, we were founded in 1919, so we are over 100 years old, and Waukegan has been our home for the last 70 years. So we continue to invest heavily in FanSteel, and this new building will be a utility building, which will help power our site and our production of our products. And we continue to invest for the long term to be here in FanSteel. FanSteel, our products, just so you may wonder, so we produce very high quality, high purity components that go into the world's best drugs and vaccines. And we are a key supplier for many vaccines in the world, and also many of the COVID vaccines. We continue to expand at FanSteel, and this new building is a critical part of FanSteel's future. It will provide additional electricity and very pure water, as well as chilling capacity to our whole site and production. And so we're very excited about this new building. This would be FanSteel's first new building in many decades, and but really a critical element of our ability to operate and to continue to expand and continue to supply these drugs and vaccines. This building will be a 4-story building. As I said, multi-story. Will not require many people operating it, because it'll be mostly utilities equipment, basically, and be very quiet. We care very deeply about our site and also the community around our site, and we continue to care very much about our neighbors and making it look very nice and being as respectful as we can for our community and as we continue to invest here. So this is an exciting part of our future, and exciting and important part of our ability to keep expanding. We have certain pictures, if that would be helpful, so you can renderings of what this building will look like.
So I'm Virginia Harang, Senior Project Manager for CRB Consulting Engineers. My company I'm representing my client here, FanSteel and Jim Breckenridge. CRB will be the consulting firm doing the design for this building, so all the engineers and architects of record will be from our company. Like Jim mentioned, this building is key to keep FanSteel basically running, is key to the operations of the plant. Will house all the utilities for the building, and Jim already mentioned will be 4 stories. So we have a few different views, right? We're trying to show everybody here, and I'll pass them around if you want. So we're trying to show, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure. Okay, so we have different views, and we'll bring them around from different...
Excuse me, Mike, do we need her to talk into the microphone in order to be heard? Okay, I'm sorry. Is the microphone movable?
Okay, so right here you can see, and so this is a rendering from the Robert McClory bike path. So this is from the back of FanSteel. So if you go past here, this fence, that will be what used to be Gladstone Avenue. Right now it's a private road. So you can see what we're trying to keep, and another of the pictures you will see in more clarity, we're trying to keep the looks of the building, the colors, everything that match the current side, right? We don't want to have anything that will disrupt the neighborhood or the character of the neighborhood. We're also trying to enhance as much as we can with windows and make it look pretty, right? We want to just make it look better. And I'll show you here in a minute a little bit closer. The other thing we're going to show in the next renderings is that we're not blocking, right? When you look for all the different views, we're not going to be blocking either the neighborhoods or the roads or anything. So this building is more like centralized to the actual side, so it's not really on a major road or anything like that, so it will not be blocking anything. So I don't know if you want to move it, Jim, that way, and I'll show the next one. Okay, so this one, it will be basically a little bit farther out, same location, but we're now on Winelow Avenue. That's as far as you can walk, and so if you're walking towards the side, that's what you will see. So this one is a little bit farther out.
And that's all existing vegetation, right, the trees?
That's all.
Those are
That's
there
how
now?
it is right now. Yes,
Good.
that's all. We kept everything to show you what it will be.
Okay.
Okay, so this one, oops, excuse me. We're moving to the opposite side, Glenrock Avenue. So you can see here, so this is if you're standing in Glenrock Avenue, we'll see the front of fence still right now. Then behind these buildings, you have that private alley, and on the other side of that will be the building. So it's, again, you can see it's not up front. We're trying to keep the colors to match, right? And here you have some of the historic walls and everything. So we're trying to make it, again, the rendering is not reflecting that. And we're just on the initial stages of the design, but we're trying to keep it to where you won't basically clash with the rest of the facility and the neighborhood. This one right here is one that the city specifically requests from the main road, which will be Belvedere Road. So you can see how it's really will be, basically you're standing on Belvedere Road. You have a small key plan here, right, where you will be standing and looking. And you can see how it will be pretty far back out. It's towards the end of the... And the last one that we have is from the intersection of, yeah, right here. Okay, so when you're at Glenrock Avenue in Buttrick Street, if you're standing right here on the corner, you can see basically way up there, you can see a building. And again, it's not blocking any views or it's not in any major road or... Another point I would like to touch on is traffic. This building, like Jim mentioned, is not going to be an occupied building. It's just housing utilities, so it won't be adding any kind of traffic volume to the side, so won't be any disruption to the neighborhood. Anything that could be needed for that building will be materials to do any kind of repairs to the building, but those are already a house and an existing warehouse at the site, similar to any other repairs I need for any existing maintenance, so that won't be adding any volume traffic. I think those were the main points we would like to make. Again, another concern I think the city brought up and Jim already mentioned was with noise. The cooling tower we already provided to the city. Some of that information is below the limit that the ordinance for the city requests, which for a residential at night is 50 decibels. During the day is 55, and we gather information from the cooling tower vendors, and we keep that at 49 decibels. So we're meeting that requirement for residential at night, which is the most restrictive number. So that won't be affecting at all, the noise won't be affecting at all the public. And just for reference, for those that are probably not familiar with that, if like probably the way I'm talking right now, I'm around the 50, right? An office, quiet office is around 50, even 60 sometimes when people is talking a little bit louder. So that number is pretty restrictive, and we're really meeting that requirement.
I'm the one that actually raised the question about the sound. I was just concerned about, you know, the cooling tower, and I know I've heard some pretty noisy cooling towers.
Correct, but
And-
there's special cooling. You can excuse me. The vendors can provide it with. I mean, you can get a standard cooling tower, or you can get it with. I'm not, I had to look at my papers. I apologize. I'm not a mechanical engineer, but there's a quiet. It's some kind of quiet noise, and if you give me 2 seconds, I can tell you exactly. Do you remember?
That might actually help people sleep at night.
Yeah, no. It basically, what it does is it has something that make it quieter than standard. You just pay a premium, and they are designed that way, and that's how we came up with a 50, get it to below 50 decibels. So if you get a standard, it can be up to 70, which is still, it will be, for an industrial area, that won't be loud, but since we're close to residential area, that's what we'll propose to use the ones with a quiet, and I do apologize again. I have it on my computer for the presentation, but I didn't print it with me. But yeah, it's.
And this cooling tower is going to be for your production facility, not for the comfort, the air conditioning of the building, or
No, it's for the
all
process,
for production.
to provide chilling capacity for the process, yes.
Okay, and you mentioned that this building will house equipment that will power your facility. What type of equipment are you talking about?
Go ahead, Tony, yes.
Site director at Fan Steel. So at Fan Steel, right now oh, you can't hear me? Oh, sorry. So the type of equipment we're talking about is that we're going to be putting in transformers, and it's going to operate anything from reactors to evaporators to chillers to, yeah. So that's the type of equipment we're going to be.
You're not actually generating electricity, you're just putting in transformers.
No, sir. The plan is to partner with ComEd and come off one of their 34 kV feeds.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and when we talk about powering, it's really all of the, our processes take tremendous control, and so that's the chilled water, that's electrical power, that's nitrogen. So there's all sorts of elements that go into the utilities that really help us produce our products, basically. So the equipment in this building, will be, it's truly the best in the world. So the best electrical transformers, the best chillers, the best cooling towers, right? And also very specialized water. So it creates very pure water, essentially. So it's a critical part, and really. Without these utilities, we can't produce, and without these utilities, without additional utilities, and Fan Steel's been operating, our existing utilities are, these various pieces of equipment are, 30, 40, 50 years old. So currently, and not at the capacity that we are able to produce, essentially, enough. So this really provides us the long-term capability to stay here on our site and to stay in Waukegan.
This cooling tower will be operating year-round, then, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you foresee that there may be occasions when the cooling tower would generate a certain amount of fog in the area?
I don't believe so, no, right?
We currently have cooling towers on the site now.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other
Mr.
commissioners?
Breckenridge,
Commissioner Griffin.
how many employees do you have?
We have about 130 employees currently.
And you've done a tremendous amount of work improving that property this year, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
And I think they've been a credit to Waukegan. I'm so happy they're staying and adding on.
Thank you. Yeah, we have amazing people at Fan Steel. So we're very blessed to be here. We're very blessed with having been here a long time, and we're blessed with we have a tremendous site that's been built for many years, decades, right? And so there's been, but with the great people and and especially during COVID, it's been the tremendous amount of work and effort to support and to supply for the COVID vaccines. So there's, Fansteel operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with our great teams of people, and so we're...
Just out of curiosity, how much did that increase the business there?
Our volumes really, it depends which products, but basically the products that that are utilized in the COVID vaccines, it was about 3 times, so 3x, which was a tremendous. And we did a major expansion during COVID, and we were part of the Operation Warp Speed, the U.S. government's vaccine initiative, and so we just again a tremendous amount of work with great engineers. CRB is one of the world's best engineers for pharmaceutical companies. And so it was a tremendous effort between Tony Lockett, our whole team of engineers to be able to very quickly produce that much more. And so it was a great effort, great people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
A couple quick ones for me. So you talked about noise for the cooling towers. Are you assuming then that there's no noise from the equipment inside the building? That's all contained? Cooling towers, sorry.
Yeah, the cooling towers will be outside. Everything else is inside, and really it'll be, any noise from the equipment inside is pretty minimal and will be completely contained, by the building.
And is there any different emissions that or permits that you will need for emissions related to this install? I guess, are you admitting anything, or is it?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Happy to see you investing in Waukegan as well.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for the presenters? Okay, I'd just like to make a comment. I've been very impressed by the way that Fansteel has operated in the time that I've been in Waukegan, which is about 32 years. I've seen the way that you've improved and maintained your properties, and we're really very happy to have you as a business partner in Waukegan. Hope you'll stay for many more years and continue to do well and expand and improve. So thank you for what you're doing, and I'm definitely in support of this project.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, can we ask the city staff for their recommendation?
Evening. I do want to clarify, this is not a variance for the height, it is a conditional use. But staff does recommend approval with a few conditions. And I want just to point 3 out. When we first spoke about the project, we spoke about what was inside the building, and so the question about noise did come up. They did say that it would contain within the building. So there wouldn't be a problem with the surrounding neighborhood. When it was submitted, we noticed these large towers. We weren't sure what they were, so we had to reach out, and it ended up being cooling towers. So then the question about smoke and noise came up again. So we did include on your report, condition number 6, the utility building and cooling towers must not transmit noise, vibration, smoke, dust, odor, toxic or noxious matter, glare, or heat, just so that we can protect our neighborhoods, or the neighborhoods around it. We also noticed, if you notice on the pictures, actually they're not here anymore on the ones that they presented, but there was a sign, a Fansteel sign at the top of the building, and it's probably shown in your packets. That would not be approved by the city. It does not follow the regulations for the sign ordinance. So if they are proposing some sign, we recommend to contact the building department and talk to them about what would be approved under the ordinance. So they have been coming to the city for multiple permits for multiple projects that they have done over the years. And what we noticed is that if you look at your location map, Fansteel is located in multiple zoning districts. So what we are recommending is that they zone all of their parcels in an industrial district, the I-1. So that way in the future, if they are coming for another permit or with any other project, that it will be easier for us and them to know if it would be approved or not, instead of looking at where the project will be located and doing our research if it would be eligible in that district. So if it was an industrial, the whole campus, then it would be a lot easier for both of us in the future. And of course, we want to see Fansteel stay in the city. We do want an important company in Waukegan.
Thank you. Any of the commissioners have questions or comments for city staff? Mr. Bill.
Do you know the approximate, well, not know so much you, but Fansteel herself, as far as the approximate length or duration of the construction project?
Please speak into the microphone.
I would say 9 months to a year, the whole direction of the project, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. I would like to ask for are we at that point? Oh, I'm sorry. Knew there was something. Is there anybody here who would like to speak out in support of this project? Is there anybody here who would like to speak out in opposition to this project? Okay, in that case.
Commissioner, do we have any call-ins or anything?
No.
Any letters of objections?
No
or
letters.
anything?
I'd like to make the motion to approve.
Motion to recommend approval of zoning calendar number 2659, a request by James Breckenridge and Fansteel, Inc. for conditional use permit for building that exceeds a 60-foot height restriction for 1200 Gladstone Avenue. Is that your motion?
That's my
We have a
motion.
second.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Bill. Any additional discussion on this motion?
And just for clarification, would this be with pursuant to the conditions?
Yes, yes, pursuant to the conditions outlined by city staff. Thank you. And before we vote, let me just ask, of the petitioner, you don't see any difficulty with living up to the conditions that the city is requesting? Do you? It says utility building and the cooling towers must not transmit noise, vibration, smoke, dust, odors, toxic or noxious matter, glare, or heat. Or heat. So they are going to transmit noise. Yeah.
So the noise is going to be within the limits required by the city codes, an ordinance, yeah. It's not going to be 0. That's what it will be below the 50, which is the most restricted limit that the city has right now.
Okay, do we need to modify this recommendation then before we vote?
Pursuant to.
How we can handle that change is when we present this to City Council, excuse me, these conditions are part of the ordinance that the council has presented for approval, so we can make that change within what we present for the ordinance, so that the condition specifies that, excuse me, these issues must not exceed the city standards per code.
Okay. So then we can keep the motion as it is, subject to this, to these recommendations?
Right, if that's the motion to keep it subject to the conditions, that would be fine.
Whatever you're comfortable with. You can add that to the motion also.
If you wish to amend the motion to approve, subject to the conditions with the understanding that the noise component of the conditions would be within city ordinance limits, that could be a way that you proceed.
Can we have you write that up and present it to us so that we can vote on it?
I'm sorry, Chair, what do you mean? Write it up now?
Yeah, can you do that so that we have the exact wording?
Sure.
Or do we need to do that right now?
I don't believe it would be necessary right now. It would just be approving the item per the conditions of staff, subject to city ordinances. You know, however you want to say it. It doesn't
Okay.
have to be specific.
We all understand the intent. Is everybody okay with that?
Acceptable.
Okay. Thank you. That's why you're here. All right. Then the motion can. Who made the motion?
I did.
Mr. Griffin. Okay. So will you amend your motion to contain the wording spelled out by our
Absolutely.
city attorney? Okay. And who made the second?
I did, and I will.
Commissioner Bill, okay. All right, then I guess we can go forward with it. Any further discussion on this motion? Roll call vote, please.
Bill,
Aye.
Hintz,
Yes.
Haug,
Yes.
Griffin,
Yes.
Rivera,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes, motion carries. Congratulations, good luck with your project. Next step is going to be Community Development Committee, Monday, May 2nd at 5 p.m. in this chamber. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more thing for Noel. Could you please ask the city to do something about the microphones here? You know, when we watch at home, we can't hear the mayor at all. And I don't know whether it's the acoustics in this building, but the architects, when they were speaking tonight, you can't even understand. It's garbled.
I will certainly mention that clearly.
I'd like to be able to hear them and understand, you know, what their plan is.
I agree, we have challenges with that. I will definitely mention it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, item 6, informational items. Do we have any? Okay, in that case, I would like to move on to item 7, which is adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion by Commissioner Rivera,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hintz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 7:43.